no way. No way.
Did anyone want this? Listen, y'all, I read the comments. I know what you guys want to see, and I'm here to tell you, it's not up to me. I don't make the rules, the wheel does. Well, I did make the rule that gives the wheel all the power, but now that I set that rule, I can't break it. What, you want me to amend it or something? What am I, Congress? Welcome to Jurassic Park. Sorry, Jurassic World. Lego Jurassic World. The 2015 Lego game, Lego Jurassic World, which was released alongside the cinematic revival of the Jurassic Park franchise. And this game adapts that film as well as the trilogy of films that came before it. In addition to a story mode that has 5 levels for each film, there are 4 explorable open areas packed with collectibles. But that's par for the course with LEGO games. So that's where the characters come in. I have ranked each of the characters in this game from worst to best as usual, but I gotta say, I've had to apply the most rules to how I'm gonna rank them than I ever have. So sit back and digest these rules I am about to spout at you. First and foremost, I'm not separating the variants. I did that for LEGO Avengers and I learned my lesson. My reason for separating them in that game is because different variants could have different abilities. That's not a problem here aside from one guy, but the difference in abilities seems superfluous to me more than anything. I'll talk about that when I get there though. But all is that to say, if a character has multiple variants, they'll all be grouped into one segment and I'll make a note of the separate variants. How they separate the variants is just so inconsistent. Sometimes the variants share the same space in the roster, sometimes they don't. And then there was DLC that added new variants to already existing characters, and they just sharded the icons at the bottom of the character grid like they usually do for LEGO game DLC. So to hell with it, just lump all the variants together, makes my job easier and you'll have to listen to less rambling. But also, let's discuss the dinosaurs. Yes, dinosaurs are playable in this game, as they should be. And honestly, if I couldn't play as a Tyrannosaurus Rex in this game, I would incite some kind of riot. But yeah, they are here, but they aren't all as easily accessible as regular characters. The game separates the dinosaurs into small, medium, and large, along with 2 other pseudo-categories of dinosaurs. And these dinosaurs are required to obtain 100% completion. So really, I probably should rank them, right? Well, it gets more complicated considering that most dinosaurs can't just be switched to willy-nilly in levels. Sometimes you have to be in an enclosed area and you can spawn them in using these blue platforms. After heavy deliberation, the verdict is, if the dinosaurs are available in the main character roster, then they will be included in the ranking. So basically, the small dinosaurs are going to be ranked alongside the human characters. Since you can't switch to medium or large dinosaurs in levels, it feels a little unfair to compare them to those that can. So with all variants being covered together, and with only the small dinosaurs being counted in the ranking, that makes 107 characters to be ranked. But the rest of the dinosaurs are not being abandoned in this series like they were at the end of Jurassic Park 2 in Isla Sorna. At the beginning of every part after this one, I will do a spotlight segment covering these medium and large dinosaurs. There are 14 dinosaurs to cover in total, and there will be 10 individual parts after this one, so I will cover a dinosaur or 2 at the beginning of every part. I won't assign numbered rankings to these larger dinosaurs in the spotlight segments, but I will be covering them starting with the least useful to the most useful, so make of that what you will. But I'm excited to see where this series will take us, and I hope you are too. This game, like all LEGO games, has its ups and downs, but I'm gonna try to stay on the positive side this time around. Let's see if that stays true. So with all that said and done, let's rank the characters of LEGO Jurassic World. Starting off this ranking as the worst character is this little goober. The baby in parentheses after Velociraptor implies that this is a variant, but you don't need to be familiar with this game to know that this guy is probably nothing like his adult counterpart, and you'd be correct. The reason why the baby Velociraptor is dead last because, well, it's primarily a gag, and it seems a little too early to reveal this, seeing that it's the very first segment, but this game was stretching for characters. But it will become very apparent soon enough. So it makes sense that they'd have some real estate in the roster for a little joke or two. The baby Velociraptor in this game is the equivalent to Gonk Droid in LEGO Star Wars. So go ahead to the comments and talk about how he's God or something. But I do like how this guy moves, you know, bouncing and whatnot. Also, it seems like the baby Velociraptor is at least somewhat modeled off of the classic sitting dino piece 30464. I even got the number. This piece was seen often in Johnny Thunder sets and the Steven Spielberg Movie Banker set, and hey, Steven Spielberg directed Jurassic Park That's what we gamers call a full circle moment. And I mean, the similarity could be a coincidence, but this baby Velociraptor looks nothing like the baby Velociraptor piece we would eventually get in physical form. So who knows what happened there. But clearly, the baby Velociraptor has no abilities and moves around in a tedious way, making it the type of character I tend to avoid. Oh, what's this? Yet another gag? Well, only a little bit. Is this perhaps another dinosaur that doesn't really do anything and moves in a way that would never make me enticed to play as it? Well, of course, but this dinosaur did play a role in the film at a few points. And before you say anything, that raptor that hatched from the egg in the first Jurassic Park does not count as playing a role in the film. Also, don't look up the fate of the baby Velociraptor in the book if you don't want to get bummed out. In The Lost World, the second film adapted in this game, the baby Tyrannosaurus Rex was captured to be taken to San Diego, where another Jurassic Park was planned to be constructed, because the trial run on Isla Nublar went so well. Anyway, this little guy, who is technically named Junior, was rescued by the protagonist, and in return, Junior's parents pushed their mobile lab off a cliff. Talk about ungrateful. But that's why the baby Tyrannosaurus Rex is in this game. He's way more deserving of a slot compared to the baby Velociraptor. You even get to play the baby Tyrannosaurus Rex in the bonus level in the Lost World area. There are 4 open areas in this game, 1 for each film adapted, and each has at least 1 bonus level. There are several chase sequences in story mode where you run from a dinosaur. For the bonus levels, you typically play as the dinosaur in the chase sequence instead of the humans. There are 2 exceptions, and the Lost World's bonus level is one of them. Instead of playing a T-Rex that chases people, you instead play as a baby T-Rex in place of the people that you played in story mode. So it's just a repeat of the same chase sequence with a dopey baby dinosaur. Sorry, he runs funny, okay? It's dopey. We got the baby Stegosaurus up next, and I hate to say it, but this guy also can't do anything on top of being difficult to move around in. But that's not exactly surprising given our last 2 dinosaur babies. The baby Stegosaurus played somewhat of a role in one scene of The Lost World, and her nickname was Claire. Sarah Harding pet her, then tried taking pictures, which made the baby Stegosaurus alert the adults. Like I said, this guy doesn't move great. The most noticeable thing is the fact that the baby can't jump. He's an absolute unit, so it makes sense, but as soon as you encounter an obstacle that requires jumping, which obviously happens a lot, you have to switch to someone else. Also, turning with this guy kinda looks like he's drifting, which is funny, but it's still not helpful. I placed the baby Stegosaurus over the other babies thus far, despite his lack of jumping, mostly because I have beef with the baby Raptor and T-Rex. Baby Raptor doesn't deserve its slot, and the baby T-Rex peeved me when he was the playable character in the Lost World's bonus level. So, baby Stegosaurus is above them because he didn't cross me. Yes, I'm making up non-issues with pieces of code, so what? Let me have my fun. Oh man, can you guess what this guy's fate was? Are you guessing that he was devoured by a dinosaur in San Diego? Good guess. First of all, this guy can be seen in the Lost World in San Diego when the T-Rex is unleashed upon the city. You see this guy running but eventually getting gobbled up by the dinosaur. So he's obviously not bystanding. He's not an unlucky bystander. He's an unlucky run for his life. I'll work on it. A little fun fact for you though, the unlucky bystander is supposed to be David Cope. For those who don't know, he's a famous screenwriter who had his hand in writing Mission Impossible, Spider-Man, a few Indiana Jones films, and a few of these Jurassic Park films as well. It's pretty clear he's a buddy of Steven Spielberg, and this David Cope guy is even returning to write the screenplay for the 7th film of this franchise, Jurassic World Rebirth. Anyway, apparently this unlucky bystander was supposed to be him. And actually, David Cope is credited in the cast for The Lost World as Unlucky Bastard, which obviously isn't a suitable name for a kid's game, so it was changed to Unlucky Bystander. There are a few filmmakers involved with the Jurassic Park franchise in this game who are playable, but David Cope got stuck with Bystander. Pretty unlucky of him to miss the opportunity to have his actual name in this masterpiece of a game. But even more unfortunate, this guy doesn't have any abilities to his name, or lack of name. Generally, this guy's just unlucky. It's just unlucky. Here's the start of a very common trend we'll see time and time again in this series. That trend is, my friends, the name of a character being a job title plus a random name. Like they probably just opened a list of the most common names in America and just picked one. This is InGen investor Gerald. Can you guess what he does for a living? Not sure if you can invest in InGen 40 hours a week as opposed to just investing in it once at a time, but we'll go with it. I'm going to be referring to Wikipedia a lot for these random characters, just in case I get a little nugget of something interesting, and this time I kinda did. So according to Wikipedia, InGen investor Gerald's last name is Harding, the same as Sarah Harding, who played a big role as the love interest in The Lost World. Apparently, this is her spouse, which is weird since her dad is Jerry Harding, a character from the first Jurassic Park film, and Gerald is what Jerry is short for. Now, it's not impossible for Sarah to marry a man who shares a name with her father, and there's nothing wrong with it, but typically repeating names in works of fiction is frowned upon as a general rule of thumb. I don't know, but I can't seem to find anything about Sarah Harding having any kind of spouse, just Ian Malcolm as a boyfriend. So I'm calling cap on Wikipedia, but it's not like anyone really cares about investors with no abilities anyways. Fun fact, Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler weren't married in the first film. Not really a fun fact, just a regular one to be honest. You probably picked up on it if you watched the film once. But hey, they eventually broke up. Enter Mark Degler. By the third film, Ellie has a new last name and has kids with this Mark guy. Mark Degler is an attorney for the US State Department. Unfortunately, his assumed aptitude for law isn't really applicable in this game, so he doesn't have any abilities. He has a briefcase though. I'm sure the files from his cases will do something for the dinosaurs. Now here's a bit of a confession. I haven't seen Jurassic World Dominion until the preparation for this series. I thought Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler were done for good, but it was no surprise to me at all that Ellie and Mark conveniently divorced by the time of Dominion, just in time for the member berries to reignite the spark between Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler. So, sorry Mark, I'm sure you and Ellie had a good run. This guy's fate in the film traumatized me as a kid. Not that it was graphic or anything, but being eaten by a dinosaur while on the toilet became an irrational fear of mine. I still have it to this day, actually. Donald Gennaro was, like Mark Degler, a lawyer, except this time he was a counsel for InGen and was very skeptical of the whole Jurassic Park idea from an accountability standpoint. And his skepticism would end up being correct because this dude got the most disrespectful death I can think of, and I got trauma for it. So in case you didn't pick up on it, this is that guy. Just like the attorney Mark Degler, the attorney Donald Gennaro has no abilities that goes with such a profession. But this is the first character we're covering with more than one variant. What's weird is that these variants, of which there are two, are shown in separate icons in the roster right next to each other. Why they couldn't just share a slot beats me. The first variant, the standard one, has him wearing the outfit he wore for most of his screen time, with the fedora, suit and tie as the top, and a little party on the bottom with the shorts. In his other variant, geez, rub it in, why don't you?